So here we are with Christian Sommer.
It's Xia, Jiatian de Xia.
You've been quietly connecting dots between China, Germany, and the world.
The speed in China, everybody knows, is quite different than in Germany. But it's not the speed only, it's also the festival days, holidays. In China, you need an answer within days, sometimes hours. But in Germany, just this holiday season, you can't get it.
How to be local in the China market.
We understand, but all the others are stupid. That's not a point. What is a headquarter? If you have 70% export, what is a headquarter?
Ours are Germany's territory.
Yes.
But at the same time, around me, other brands also all around Chinese cars.
China has not a tradition of self-driving cars. In Germany, we have considered, when we developed the first electric vehicles, shall we put the engine noise into the car artificially in order to make, a serious question. In China, nobody would come to that question at all.
What kind of car you are using, Chinese or German?
Oh, yeah.
So many decisions in China are made around the table rather than in the boardrooms. It's a classic.
Please, you just don't talk about any business. Let me do.
China copies but doesn't innovate.
That's definitely wrong. 100% wrong. That's already wrong 30 years. China is, I believe, coming from a powerhouse of growth, developing to a powerhouse of innovation. American-born Chinese, Chinese-born American. Would that be accepted from a Chinese community?
Shanghai moves too fast for foreigners to keep up.
If you play table tennis in China, you have to have the personality that you don't mind to lose a lot. Mahlzeit, Mahlzeit, Mahlzeit.
吃饭了，吃饭了。
对，吃饭了，对。Cheers. Cheers.
So here we are with Christian Sommer. Interestingly, your Chinese name, you said it's related to summer.
It's Xia.
Yes.
Jiatian de Xia.
A lot of foreigners, struggle with having a Chinese name. They are trying to learn how their name sounds. But
Yes.
in your case, it was perfectly translation.
Exactly. There's a perfect translation, of course, given by my wife. And that's why if you follow my name, it's a Xia Jian An. And the Jian is the given name of my wife, Li Jian, Muzeli Li Jian.
Did she do that purposely? to
Yes,
put her
I
name?
trust, I trust you. As it is in China, there's no, coincidence. That's all by
Yeah.
purpose.
I was interviewing a very famous architect, Ben Wood. So in his book, he wrote, I didn't come to China for an answer. I didn't come to China for a conversation. This sentence really resonates because many of us really want to have a conversation, a dialogue with China when we arrive here. When your conversation has started with China.
Actually in Germany, back in Germany, because I'm playing table tennis. And China is, everybody knows, number one in table tennis. Even at that time, partially it was Sweden also very good as a Europe team, and Germany with Timo Boll also very good. However, China was the benchmark everybody's looking for. This was back in beginning of 90s, actually. And I was playing in a club in Germany, not that high, but still quite okay. And that's why we're looking to China, and we had one Chinese player in our team. And he told us stories from Hangzhou, where he's from, Ling Ping. He said, Ling, definitely, I know myself. I will come and visit you. I don't know what kind of occasion, I don't know the year, but this I know myself that well. Definitely I will come just to have a tea with you or a beer or whatever it is, just to visit. And that it turns out like that, of course, I never expected at that time.
Isn't that scary to play ping pong in China?
If you play table tennis in China, you have to have the personality that you don't mind to lose a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, to lose a lot.
You've been quietly connecting dots between China, Germany, and the world, trying to explain to companies abroad how things work in China. What is one uncomfortable truth about China market that a lot of foreign companies realize a bit late?
Currently, I would say the intensity of Chinese competition, because that is relatively recent after COVID, where the German companies now experience this in a way I believe they have not experienced this in this range before. Before we had the quality advantage, which we still partially have. We have therefore the opportunity to ask for a different pricing because it is somehow a German product. These advantages have diminished. So therefore, ultimately, the competition is getting simply better. It's not we getting worse. It's simply the Chinese competition, and that's a very normal development, is getting better. Second, I would also like to mention, because that is something which I believe is true for the last 30 years even, it is the difficulty of cross-border management and business. And that's very practical, very simple. The speed in China, everybody knows, is quite different than in Germany. But it's not the speed only, it's also the festival days, holidays. So therefore, in China, you need an answer within a days, sometimes hours. But in Germany, just this holiday season, you can't get it. But your operation in China is not that large, in particular for the medium-sized companies. So you don't get it. You rely on the German expertise. To manage this is very difficult, in particular because the German companies, medium-sized, they have one or two guys or ladies with China expertise. So what they are doing when they intensify the China business, they take that person and put it into China. This helps. But what happened back in Germany? No one is there, to bring this to the top management. And that's why often you don't get the decision, because that person is just now in China. So very practical things make cross-border management and business not easy.
A lot of people talk about when you enter a China market, you will have to work on your localization, how to be local in the China market. And what you are talking about, what else is the secret of becoming more localized, like except hiring Chinese staff, having a translator around you?
I think you touch a very important point, which is one of the key issues, I believe, the last 2 or 3 years is still to a certain extent I cannot say not really understood, because that always believes we understand, but all the others are stupid. That's not a point. But the content of localization is not just change somehow into a Chinese entity. Localization means to be somehow still connected to Germany, to be recognized as a German, in our case, German company, because otherwise you are losing your edge. So localization means not only stuff, it's the process, it's the supply chain, it's the way how you work, the way how you discuss with the people, the way how you manage your team. That is real localization. So as a result, you are operating more independently. You are not depending on the German headquarters by decision. However, you still incorporate the German image of your product. If you give this away, I think you are losing against the Chinese competition. It comes down to the point, what is the headquarter? What is a headquarter? If you have 70% export, what is the headquarter?
Good question.
Because you're just sitting there with the top management and you make the major decisions. And then exactly we come down to the localization. If the major decisions for that Asian Chinese market should be done in China. So you are losing headquarter competence. And then the question is what kind of headquarter it is. So that's why I believe in the future you may have a structure of the company where you have to deal with 3, maybe 4, but let me say 3 headquarters. One is most probably in America.
Yeah. Classic.
One is exactly in Europe, and one is in China/Asia. Africa, I'm not that familiar with. Maybe that's another need, but I can't talk about that.
Localization we talked about. Doesn't matter what profession you are in, especially like when you do business in China, there are so many nuances, such as like so many decisions in China are made around the table rather than in the boardrooms. It's a classic. Even if it's a business dinner, you don't really talk about the business until probably dessert time, when you just drop a sentence about the business. And for many foreigners, that's very weird, because when you meet a person for a business reason, you start talking about it from the beginning. So it's always a clash to observe as somebody that stayed in China for long enough, how uncomfortable the expat feels. But from Chinese side, it looks a little bit, I would say even rude to when you meet a person, you immediately start talking about business, because it's sort of like we need to establish some relationship.
You put it in the right way. It's true. If you have a dinner, then is just either after you have already a business talk, then of course it's easy, you should relax. That's kind of a relax. If you travel to a foreign country, you have a certain time limit. You have always this pressure. Even during the dinner, you want to achieve a result. But you're right. Normally, I will tell our colleagues coming from Germany, say, please, you just don't talk about any business. Let me do. Let me start, and then it's early enough. You just enjoy the dinner, just ask some questions around, whatever, but don't talk business. And this helps.
I hope everyone who ever watched this, they will remember this golden rule in China. Cars are Germany's territory.
Yes.
And now with this massive change in the world market, even like every time I'm back to Armenia, I call an Uber or a car service, comes 红旗 to me. I mean, it feels very nice. I mean, 我觉得很开心. Yeah. But at the same time, around me, other brands also all around Chinese cars.
In a country like Germany, where the cars are that is the German territory, as you rightfully said, and now in that territory, there comes a strong competition. This has an effect. And this, of course, brings the German companies being here with a lot of production sites under huge pressure to adapt to the Chinese customer needs. Germany is under pressure because the business model of Germany is not working that smoothly than in the past anymore.
What is the business model there?
Basically, you have a production in Germany, from any car industry, a German car industry, and this production is super good. It's efficient. It's cost. It's everything. Perfect.
So you just follow that.
And then you make a copy paste and put it to China or put it to anywhere, and it's working well because everybody is taking the same car somehow. And this is not working anymore because customer ask for different connectivity, for different engines, because cities are different, technology is different. And this will even differ in the future far more. You will see far more self-driven cars in China much earlier than in Germany by volume. Because China has not a tradition of self-driving cars. You think in Germany we have considered, when we developed the first electric vehicles, shall we put the engine noise into the car artificially in order to make, this was a question, a serious question. In China, nobody would come to that question at all. So you see, this kind of culture difference, technology differences, they make the markets even further split away.
Oh, what kind of car you are using, Chinese or German?
As representative, CEO and chairman of the German Centre Shanghai, of course I'm driving a
one day Chinese, one day German.
No. I'm driving a German car produced in China. I think that's exactly
perfect combination.
Yes, and it's a NEV. It's a pure electric car. Very nice one.
Does it make the sound?
Of course not.
I don't know whether I can call it a hobby because you sound like you're doing it so professionally.
Shanghai Voltage band was founded. I'm one of the founder. We have still.
What instrument you play? Please tell people.
Yes, I'm the bass man. I play the bass.
Is there any Chinese phrase or word you use often?
Oh yo. Oh yo. Oh what's that?
More reaction.
More reaction.
Any phrase in German that you think all of us should know?
Mahlzeit. It's like lunchtime, Normally it's lunchtime. Everybody going, to lunchtime, and then they on the floor, they meet, they say, oh, Mahlzeit.
Why it's important? Why lunch is so important in Germany?
It's important somehow, but it's just only like hi, like in lunchtime, it's like Mahlzeit. And it's
Finish the sentence. China is not hard to understand. It is
family focused.
Yes.
Because in the family you help each other, even you don't like each other, but you help each other. It is money focused. It's money focused, and to that extent, very logical. Very logical. So if you have to make decision, if you judge the situation, judge the money, and then it's much easier to find maybe the decision making, the way.
If someone wants to travel to China and can visit 2 cities, where to go to see real China?
One city which is famous for any historical spot. I mean, finally, it depends what kind of interest that person has. But in general, I would say if it's your first trip, one is with a historical spot, very important one. Any one is good.
Xi'an, Beijing.
Exactly. And the other one is go to a top modern city that you can embrace the future, which will be in Germany and be everywhere as well.
China, myth or a fact? People work 24/7 and never stop.
That is wrong, because I believe that applies to every nation, because this is a question of personality.
Foreigners can't integrate into Chinese communities.
Partially right. Even you speak more or less perfect Chinese, you are, of course, not a Chinese. And it's a very interesting, American-born Chinese, ABC, American-born Chinese. Do you think vice versa would work? Chinese-born American. Would that work? Would that be accepted from a Chinese community? That's the limitation.
It's impossible to be successful here unless you're Chinese.
No, that's wrong.
That's wrong. I agree too. We think we succeeded. That's why we are saying
it's definitely wrong, because there are a lot of very, very successful foreign investments. There are a lot of very successful foreigners did obviously a lot of contribution. What's mean contribution? They earn the money out of that contribution. I mean, that's why I know that's wrong.
Shanghai moves too fast for foreigners to keep up.
Unfortunately, I have to say, most of the time it's true, because you do have a speed which is a part of your culture and your culture, behavior, and your education. And this speed you cannot change. You can adapt to, but it's not incorporate in your body, in your genes, unless you're really, as a foreigner, born in China, you're grown up in China, you basically really educate like a Chinese, maybe then yes, but I would say otherwise there's a certain limitation.
China copies but doesn't innovate.
That's definitely wrong. That's 100% wrong. That's already wrong 30 years. But at that time it was simply that the copies we have seen more often than the innovation. And we have been more aware about the copies, and this was good so, because it was too much and was hurting our business, than about the innovation. In particular Germans, because the innovation happened in areas where is no German business. But China was always innovating, of course, in the past less than currently. But the current innovation is everybody recognized. China is, I believe, coming from a powerhouse of growth, developing to a powerhouse of innovation.
You are such a nice individual to represent expat community in Shanghai. You understand so much about the culture, and we need more foreigners like this. Thanks so much for accepting the invitation, Christian.
Thank you very much, Astrid. Cheers. Cheers.